Well, the thing is, at that time, none of us would have called ourselves hardcore. That was a label that came after the fact, you know. Black Flag we didn't go, okay, we're going to do the hardcore thing. We never talked about that. That wasn't a thing, you know.
Right. All right, there it is. So how's it going out there?
So out here, it is going excellent. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm on the East Coast. I'm pretty sure you're still out there in California, right?
I am, sunny California.
Nice. So you're well, I guess you spent most of your life living out there, right? You were actually born in Connecticut, I think.
Yes, I was born in Connecticut, and I went back to Connecticut after college for a little while to work. But I lived in the Caribbean a little bit as a child. But yeah, most of my life has been in sunny Southern California.
Nice. So yeah, you have a new record coming out, a new solo Kira record called Enigma.
I do.
So I was listening to your new record today. It's not quite out yet, but I was listening to it. It's called Enigma.
It's called Enigma.
Yeah. What made you decide to do a new record now?
Excellent question. You know, truth be told, I'm always making new songs and making music. So the question really is, why put out a record? Yeah, I totally agree. The first one my brother talked me into, and this one another good friend sort of talked me into. I think what happened as well, sort of simultaneously, was that a big event happened in my life that I thought was a big enough event to write a song about and tie the record to as a concept.
Oh, okay.
And the song Enigma is about the guitar player friend that I lost at that time when we were talking about putting a record together, and he actually plays on two of the tracks. I recorded them to the tempo of a demo I had done so I could keep his guitar. It sort of became a theme to dedicate it to this friend of mine, Glenn.
Oh, that's
Brown.
Cool. I'm sorry to hear about your friend, but that's really, I mean, that part is cool, you know. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of times it takes pain. Unfortunately, pain is a big driver. But you know, I had a lot of the songs going, and really the other big driving force was that after the first solo record, I had a band, basically. You know, we did a few gigs. And so this time we did it in a totally different fashion. We recorded it much more traditionally, with me and the drummer in the same room the whole time, and with Paul in the same room for 6 of the songs. So really much more of a live band recording too.
Yeah, okay.
Which was fun and very different. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, if you recorded it like that, because it has a really cool, I guess organic's kind of an overused word, but it has a really cool organic sound like that, and I thought it might be recorded live together. That's really cool.
Yeah, it has some groove to it. Also, my brother and I, Paul, who plays piano on the record and on the first record, he and I have really developed a style of how to go from my sort of rudimentary two bass parts, where I write a second bass line and sort of hand it to him as a starting point, and he builds his part from there. So we've really developed this style of music that we feel really works and gives him a solid starting point, but also he's free to do whatever. And so there's parts when he's very much a piano part, and there's other times when he's totally sort of playing a second bass line part.
Yeah. So he's kind of doing like a Ray Manzarek bass line on there on the keyboard sometimes, right? Kind of.
Sometimes, you know? I mean, sometimes there's definitely the place it started was another bass line. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's cool, man. That's really awesome, actually. So yeah, you and Paul co-produced the record, right?
That's right. He and I have also developed a style of that where having worked enough with my music, we have also a sort of line of communication on how to get it to its completion. So we work very well together, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's always good to have a sounding board. It's always good to have a sounding board and not do it yourself, and have someone who's to bounce things off of, and then you can bust them around and tell them what to do because it's my record.
That's right. That's cool. You and your brother have kind of been playing together off and on since you were kids, right?
Yes. Yes, our first band together was when I was 16. It was called Wax, and he played drums because we didn't think piano was very punk rock. And then he got in the Screamers, and we found out it was. But on and off for many, many years. We did Twisted Roots together multiple times, and then started to do this sort of virtual band, which we did for way before people were doing that, sending files around, building songs with our friend guitar player in Cleveland, and just doing it all remotely, just sending it around, and he and I in Pro Tools, and that guy in a digital recorder device, and just building songs just for the fun of it. And we just have this huge library of songs.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Between all of us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So did you guys record this like at your house or something, or did you go to like an old fashioned?
Yeah, I mean, I have. Right. I would send a bass line and a vocal line, or he would send a click track and a guitar part or whatever. So we would have someone would start something and then would send it, and it would evolve. And Paul would usually be the mixer, but we would never be in the same room.
Okay. Yeah.
Until this record, most of my stuff was done that way. I work best at like 6:30 in the morning, and who wants to play with me then?
I mean, I'm a morning person now myself, so I get ideas all night.
Weird.
Yeah.
But so, I just think better at that time.
Yeah. So then when you're ready to record the record, where did you do it? This one? The drummer Dave Bach has a studio setup. So does my brother. I mean, we could have done it at either place, but we did it where he was because his drums were already set up and mic'd there because he does a lot of stuff there. Yeah. So he was ready to go, and we did a live stream from there after the first record. So we've as a band, we prepared there to get ready for the live shows too. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, that actually, who all played on it? You and Paul, and what did you say the drummer's name is?
Dave Bach is the drummer's name, and he plays with the Avengers on tour sometimes.
Oh, okay.
So he has a wide range of styles.
Yeah.
And then we have Glenn Brown on guitar on 2 songs, and then Petra Hayden sings backup on 1 song and sings lead on 1 song.
Oh, nice.
Because I told her I was having trouble with a melody, and then she sends me back 15 melody ideas.
Oh, wow.
And so I just made that the lead vocal.
That's cool.
So she's amazing. And if you hand her something, she can take it and turn it into something amazing. And she did that on both those songs that I sent to her.
Okay. Now, she was in That Dog, or I don't even know if that might still exist too, right? I'm not sure. Right?
Her sister, Rachel, I think, is in That Dog.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if Petra was in it as well at some time, but she's part of a set of triplets.
Okay.
So it's sometimes tricky to keep them straight if you don't know them.
That might have been my mistake, or I might have actually been misinformed.
Yeah, I think it might be Rachel. Rachel's more the bass player, singer, and Petra is a violinist singer.
Okay.
And then her other sister sings. They've done triplet records together.
Okay.
The Hayden triplets. So anyway, Petra is the one that I know the best for the longest, and she, as a vocalist, has done things like the Who record where the Who Sells Out, where she records all the vocals for every instrument, all the drums, everything, and it does crazy shit like that, like movie theme tracks, and records everything. So she's just one of those sort of savants in the vocal area.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, like the harmonies and stuff. That's really cool. So how'd your songwriting work for this? You already said that she helped you out with some, I guess, a melody or two here and there, or 15.
Yeah, that was with one song that I just was struggling with. But usually what happens is I start sort of with the phrase. The first single, "How Could You," is a good example. Like I got in this sort of confrontation, and I went in my room and I wrote, "How could you?" I was just mad. I wrote that down, and then a couple of days later, I came back to it, and I was like, "Oh, that would be kind of funny to write a song, sort of tongue in cheek, about being that in that state," right? So then I try to write a bass line to some of these thoughts, and for some reason it came out this sort of jazzy kind of thing. I don't know why it happens, and then I start working the lyrics to the bass line, and usually it's like bass one gets recorded, and then lyrics get recorded, and then bass two gets recorded, and then I bring it to Paul to write a part, and I go to Dave's, the drummer, to work with him. We're very collaborative now. Usually the drums writing parts, I will be with them, so that because what we used to do is go back and forth. Like they'd send me something and I'd ask them to change it and send it back. I think they got tired of the back and forth. So now they just make me come there and work with them until we're happy with the parts.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. That's cool that you said that about the anger for that song, because I was listening to that in my car today, the "How Could You?" And if obviously you remember, I'm sure that sort of countrified jazz-ish Black Flag songs, the album that came out a few years ago with you and Keith Morris and doing like Black Flag songs like that. Yeah. And I was listening to it and I was like hearing in my head kind of a reverse of that, where that could make a good punk song. And you said it had anger behind it.
Well, I mean, the content is, punk rock is whatever you make it. Like I think nonconformity is what it's about. I think my music is very punk. It's very angry. It's very sad. It's very hurt. It comes from a place of the same place I was back then. And we did a Black Flag song. We did a cover song.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. I saw that, I was looking that up earlier before I got a hold of the whole album, and I saw that you guys did that live a couple years ago too, right?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I had made that jazzy version of that song, and it didn't fit in the first record. It just didn't belong. But in this record, it did. So. Yeah. So I always think that the songs that Henry writes the lyrics to are so much more of a great version of a Black Flag song, because he can really come from the feeling that it started from, Yeah. So I wanted to do one where Henry wrote the lyrics.
Yeah. Is it safe to say that Henry is your favorite Black Flag singer?
Well, I mean, I love all the Black Flag singers. Like, I love Chuck, I mean, it's like, I can't, for me, it's eras, Black Flag has had many eras. I bet this era, what they're doing right now is really cool. They got kids who probably have the rage and the energy of the punk rock. It's probably really great. I don't do that. I try to just, Black Flag is a feeling like punk rock.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, I was kind of just kidding. I didn't really think,
I know.
Yeah. How did you decide if you were going to, maybe you just wanted to do that song, or were you thinking about, I want to do a Black Flag song? How did you decide to do that one, Drinking and Driving?
Well, both definitely would have picked one that Henry sang, because like I said, I always felt like those. But also that riff just, to me, lent itself to a little bit of a jazzy style. Greg was doing it kind of straight, and I thought putting a little bit of a swing into it like that would just fit that riff. So I was playing it one day and it kind of started coming out that way. But just screwing around, and you come up with, well, that'd be a fun idea to do a version of that. I've had a rough, demo of that for a while.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's cool. Nice. Are you going to be doing shows or a tour or anything for this record?
Boy, what I can say to you about that is that I am more open than ever to do something like that. And but I think something kind of magical will have to happen. You know, I'm not going to just get in the van and start driving. There's going to have to be maybe another band to play with, or, you know what I mean? Like, there's going to have to be something's going to have to click together, so it isn't, because I don't think Kira music by itself, you know, can really support a tour or necessarily even a show, you know. So it's always good to team up with somebody, but I think that would be really cool. And my drummer's been touring and stuff. I think he would be up for it. I think Paul conceptually would be up for it. We're all really busy, but at the same time, more than ever, there's a feeling like we have a band, you know, we can do this.
Yeah.
So I hope so. How's that for an answer?
Yeah, no, that's cool. That would be awesome to see. I could almost see it like, you know, like a cabaret. I don't know if that's the right word, but you know what I mean? Like with the piano and jazzy kind of feel to it.
Yeah, you know? like a jazz club. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So can you tell me anything about that Gimme, Gimme, Gimme reinterpreting Black Flag album that I was just talking about that came out in 2010? Like, what was the story behind that? Like, how'd that come together?
Well, Des was really the impetus behind that, and he had this idea of putting all these songs. He picked the songs. He contacted me and other people that he knew to perform on them, and then he got some collaborators together to help put it out. Mm-hmm. So he was very much the person who decided who played on what song, and I mean they even made me do this thing on Nervous Breakdown, and the singing I didn't really like, but they felt really strongly about it. So it was very much produced and arranged by Des and his collaborators.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that. You know, it was weird.
But he got a lot of his friends.
Yeah. I came across that like kind of accidentally a few years ago. You know, I didn't even know it existed. I was searching Black Flag something or other, and it was just there, and I was like, "Oh, what is this?" And it's awesome. It's really cool. And it, you know what I like?
It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I also like how it just shows that those are just good songs. You know what I mean? You take away the punk and the loud, and those are still really good songs. You know.
Well, I agree. I think that that people have a tendency to assume things about us musicians or players or whatever, that we only have one aspect to us or whatever. And the truth is, most of us, especially those of us who've been playing for 50 years, you know, have a lot of angles and subtleties to ourselves as artists, you know.
Yeah.
And Greg has that too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like some of his instrumental records. They're actually pretty cool. They're totally not Black Flag-ish, but they actually do still sound like him, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Do you keep in touch with any of the former Black Flag people? Well, I guess Des a little bit, you said, kind of.
I have been in touch with most everybody. Greg, not so much. Yeah. But I've been in touch with Henry on and off through the years, and Bill through the years. Just depends on I've talked to Keith. I mean, it depends on the circumstances. But Henry, after the last record, was playing it on KCRW. You know, he played a couple songs on it. So he was very pro me doing something new and different. You know, nice. I think that some of us are really pushing for new music and not rehash music. You know, so
yeah, I hear you.
I'm really all about like new music. Kim Gordon's doing new stuff. It's really cool to see her out there. You know, Penelope from the Avengers is doing some new her own stuff as well as Avengers stuff. Like, I want to see that. I want to see people show the public what I'm talking about how many facets we do all have. And if you just stick to one paradigm, you kind of miss out on what we're really all about.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, we're about changing the world, right? So that's still true today. I'm like, you know, burn the shit down. I wrote a protest song. I definitely, if I play live, the protest song is going in the set.
Nice. Yeah, I love that too, because like I also recently interviewed Jack Grisham, and he's still making new music, and he has a new record. It's coming out, The Life Undone, where it doesn't sound like TSOL.
Yeah, he works closely with Paul.
Yeah. Oh,
He records at Paul's studio.
Yeah. And I don't know if you got a chance to listen to that, but it's totally different from TSOL other than his voice, obviously. But and so I love that.
Yeah.
I tend to interview veterans from hardcore and punk, but everybody that I interview is still creating new stuff, which I think is awesome. Like,
yeah, me too. That's what I want to hear. I don't have a lot of interest in seeing Pill put themselves back together. I'd much rather hear some new stuff. I mean, if they put out a new record, I guess. Some artists really are getting together. Old artists are putting together new music, but I don't really want to see them just play the old songs,
Yeah. I hear you. So you're still doing your dialogue editing career, right?
Absolutely.
How's that going?
Got to make a living.
Yeah.
Solo is not going to pay the bills. It's going great. I worked on Project Hail Mary last year, which was I really loved as a movie and did well. A lot of people went out and saw it. Just working more from home. I love that COVID made it so that I don't have to sit in a dark room in front of the computer at some studio somewhere. I could do that here if all I'm doing is editing.
That's cool.
So a lot of times what happens is I do the editing at home, and then when there's time for ADR or mixing, then I have to be at the studio.
Mm-hmm. To your colleagues,
but it's going great. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, that's all. You have an Emmy and an Oscar, I think, right? Or maybe even more.
I have a couple of Emmys. I don't have the hardware for the Oscar. They don't give it to the whole team. They just give it to the supervisors. But I was on a team that won, and I was on a team that was nominated for Joker.
Oh, you worked on Joker. That's cool. That was a cool movie.
Both Jokers and Stars Born. Yeah.
Nice. I wish they could have made like a realistic Batman version like they did of the Joker. That was pretty cool, a superhero movie that's sort of realistic.
Yeah, a little gritty.
Yeah.
Well, isn't the latest one a little bit more gritty?
I guess so, yeah. But you know what I mean? Like
the Penguin show? The Penguin show is pretty gritty.
You know what? I know what you're talking. I don't think I've actually watched that, but I know what you mean. But maybe
you check it out, man. That's dark. Yeah. That's fucking dark.
I'll check that one out then. So, do your colleagues that you work with in the movie and TV industry, do they know about your illustrious music career and punk rock and stuff like that?
Those who know me well know. It's funny. I a lot of times it'll just come up like we've been working on a project for a while, and then like literally someone might just lean over and say, "Yeah, and I love your work,"
Oh, nice.
and I'm like, "Whoa, okay." So I don't always know if they know. I've had people walk by. I had a guy walk by a few months ago. I had said something in a New York Times interview, like one quote was in the article, and somebody walked by my office and said, "Yeah, I saw you in the New York Times." I was like, "Oh," and I don't think of them putting me together with that persona. Because I don't really bring my Kira punk rock to work. I try not to. She's a little bit violent and angry, and it's best at work not to highlight those features.
Violence and anger at work don't really mix usually, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. So, do you mind? I wanted to ask you a couple punk rock questions, if that's okay.
Sure, of course, anything.
Okay. Yeah, so this summer and spring, actually kind of right now, marks the 42nd anniversary of the My War and Slip It In tours here in the U.S.
Yeah.
I got to see like 4 of those shows on the East Coast, in Philly, Harrisburg, New York, and D.C. Do you have any fond or not so fond memories from those tours? Or that was great, man.
Well, sure. I have very fond memories. I mean, look, it was really physically difficult.
Yeah.
So, but emotionally, we got to, when you're on stage and you actually kind of have that moment where you feel like the audience is really sort of connecting with you emotionally with what we were trying to do, like sort of slam them against the wall and they're kind of feeling it and we're all kind of feeling it. It's a great feeling, you know. So so I have all those mixed up jumbled things, like the pain and the exhaustion and the fun of the, but you have to remember that the playing is like 2 hours out of 24. So there's a lot of driving and loading gear and unloading gear and not getting enough sleep and not getting enough showers and getting sick of each other and crappy food and all sorts of that stuff too, you know, and it all gets jumbled together a little bit. But by the Slip It In tour, we were bringing our own PA system, which was sort of a double-edged sword. That way we could always sound great, but we had 10 times more equipment to load in and load out.
Yeah, right. I hear you.
Every day. Yeah.
Did you guys now, you know, if you listen to Reed Henry's accounts of things, you'd think that you guys slept in like sheds or U-Haul trucks. Did you guys ever get like hotels or anything like that?
No, we usually at the end of the show would ask people if anybody had a place we could crash. And sometimes it would be nice. And sometimes we would drive around for an hour because somehow they couldn't find their own house. And sometimes it would be a real dump, you know, and just a little bit of floor space, and some of us staying in the van, you know, and people would line up and try to get a shower, and you know, and but we didn't get hotels, so we just couldn't afford to, you know. Back then, money was super tight. Most of the money we made, we were sending back to the lawyers who helped us free up the Black Flag name from an injunction lawsuit that we had to go through.
So it was still very grassroots.
So money was tight.
Yeah, you guys were still like
money was tight.
Yeah.
Well, and it costs about $600 a day to take the PA system with us. So, you know, so you got this, you know, huge amount of money you gotta pay before you're gonna pay each other. So we had like a $10 a day per diem on those tours, and it was tough. It was tough on everybody, and no one was getting rich, and no one was super comfortable. And no one had any privacy. But at the same time, we all had this idea of what we wanted to do. We were in sync about what we wanted to do. And we wanted to take this music to that town and slam people up against the wall and then go to the next town and do it again.
Nice. Yeah. Like I told you, I saw 3 My War shows and 1 Slip It In, and that's what it was like. It was awesome. It was just powerful. Definitely slamming people against the wall, and you know what I mean. Like, you didn't. It's like this is what we're playing. If people wanted to hear all old stuff, too bad. You guys played a few old songs on those tours, but
always a few ones. Yeah. But for 2 hour set, we maybe have like 3 or 4 old songs.
Yeah. Right. So you were around pretty early in the LA punk scene, right? How did you get into all that crazy punk rock stuff back in those days?
Well, like so many things in my life, I followed my big brother into it. He actually went to high school with George Ruthenberg and Paul Beam, who became Darby Crash and Pat Smear of the Germs.
Nice.
So our first gig was a Germs gig, so the Germs people kind of turned us on to it, and we went to their show, and then, you know, more and more after that kind of got into it. But that was the method, was my brother knew them and they got into it.
Gotcha. Did you ever get a Germs burn back in those days?
No, I was one of the ones who didn't. I thought the whole point was to be nonconformist. I'm not a conformist. I didn't join the group. I was not part of the group.
Wise decision, yes. So you were at the final like real Sex Pistols show in San Francisco in '78, right? What was that like seeing them back then?
Amazing. like 2 bands opened for them, including the Avengers, which was one of my favorite bands. So that was really cool. I really loved them at the time. There were like 50 or 60 of us who have driven up from LA to go see that show, and Winterland was hopping. The crowd was really kind of rough because what was happening was people were pushing forward and people were getting smashed up against the front of the stage. It was one of those shows that can be particularly dangerous because you just have this huge group of standing people who are pushing forward to want to see the show, and the energy is so high that it gets really powerful. So I got like pushed forward and underneath. I was underneath people during some songs. It was bad that way. Like, it was a tough crowd. But that being said, like, the Sex Pistols were really right on. I mean, they were pretty tight. People think like Sid couldn't play. Yeah, he couldn't play every single note, but like he would be like, every note he would play would be the right note. You know, he would like bang on a note, then he would like bang on another note. Like he was so totally keyed in to what was happening. You know, he wasn't like just spacing out or anything. They were powerful. They were, and Johnny Rotten was, you know, full force. So it was pretty great, a pretty great show. And no regrets about being there, although I was sore for days afterwards.
You survived.
But it was great, and the Avengers were great, and yeah, just one of those shows. I got to see one of those shows last weekend. I went to Bright Eyes at this Hollywood Bowl, you know, off the subject a little bit, but man, that was really cool.
Oh yeah, okay, that's cool. Nice, nice. I there's some live footage from that show, and you're totally right. Sid is playing like mostly pretty much the songs. Like, it's true, and it's not true. People like to say he was unplugged, and so he wasn't. You know, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
No, I was watching very closely, and he was never just completely out of it. He was always just in sync, and he just didn't play. He didn't try to go da 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 da. You know, he would just go bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
He had a way of doing it. Yeah. And it worked for what they were doing. Like, be who you are.
Yeah, right. He didn't, like, Dee Ramone was kind of his idol, but well, maybe he wasn't able to, but he didn't do the whole every downstroke note.
I don't think he could. You know, I honestly don't think he could. He would have had to practice stuff. Like a lot of us, if I don't practice, I can't play that shit. They were playing fast. Like I couldn't do that. Like now, I mean, you have to play a lot. You have to practice a lot. You have to be strong. Bass playing is not, it's a physical instrument. It's not easy if you're not practiced, unless you're just one of the very few who could just sort of do it naturally.
Yeah, and especially in punk and hardcore.
I hear Flea does. Yeah, Flea told me he didn't have to practice, but.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay. But most of us have to practice.
Yeah, especially those downstrokes are a lot harder than people that don't play.
Something like that. Something physical like that. You got to practice. I mean, when Mike was trying to play with Iggy, he had to fucking relearn bass basically to play with a pick and play downstrokes like that. Yeah. He'd been playing for 30 years at that point. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. You got to build up. It's like going to the gym. You got to build up some stamina and muscle.
Right, exactly. It felt like being. I always felt like I was training for the Olympics when I was in Black Flag. But you just have to have that dedication. But anyways, I think Sid took the opposite sort of approach where he's like, I'll do what I can. You know, I'll keep up as best I can, and I'll just keep track of where I am in the song, and I'm just gonna going. Just don't be an anchor. And he wasn't at all.
No. Yeah, Steve Jones.
I totally could relate to what he was doing.
Yeah, Steve and Paul were the rhythm section, obviously the guitar player and drummer, as opposed to the bass player in that one. But yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, do you still listen to like punk and hardcore and stuff when you're listening to music?
I listen to everything. I have a little bit of everything in my playlist. But the Germs are in my playlist. They've always been there. There's some, and then there's new stuff that I don't know. Like sometimes labeling it is really hard. There's new stuff. La Dispute. Have you ever heard them? They could be fucking called punk rock. I really like them. So, I just I mix it up. I have classical music on my playlist. I'm really into Bright Eyes, like I mentioned. I listen to old Zeppelin or Bowie, whatever. Cool. It just depends on the mood. I listen to Billie Holiday and Bessie Smith. I'll listen to a lot of stuff.
That's awesome.
So I would say, punk rock's probably 10%, but it has its solid 10%,
Yeah. Did you ever get into any metal or anything like that? I guess you kind of said Led Zeppelin there.
Yeah, of course. Everything. Like I said, there's no kind of music I haven't explored.
Yeah. That's cool. And were you into hardcore when punk started changing into that, or I know a lot of people were kind of against it at the time. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, at that time, none of us would have called ourselves hardcore. That was a label that came after the fact, Black Flag we didn't go, okay, we're going to do the hardcore thing. We never talked about that. That wasn't a thing, It was put on us later, right? Like Greg would have been totally against being, categorized as this one thing, right? I mean, the way I saw it was different. It was like punk rock was expanding, right? And people like started coming to gigs who were new to it, and they would see us like jumping up and down and dancing, and they thought it was all about like smashing into each other. So they started smashing into each other. It became more violent, and then that became like, hey, if you're a guy and you want to get your testosterone going, go to one of these shows. So then you had a lot of guys come into it where it wasn't so guy heavy in the early days. It got more, and especially South Bay here in LA, it got really guy heavy, and it got pretty rough. There were certain clubs I wouldn't go to because it was kind of rough, but that doesn't mean I was like, those guys are bad and I'm not good. It wasn't like that. It was like it's expanding and changing and not in a cool way always, but there were cool bands coming up from down south. The Black Flag was from down south, and the Crowd and Middle Class and all these great punk rock bands were coming up and playing in Hollywood and playing, and there were great shows happening. So it was never like, oh, that's bad and this is good. It wasn't that cut and dried, It wasn't those people are bad. You can't control what the fans are doing. Yeah, some of the fans didn't even care about the music. They were just coming in to slam and get their rocks off,
I remember,
But what are you going to do? You can't control that.
I know. I remember being like 14 years old at hardcore shows, and like some obviously didn't always have great sound at those places, and like and being like these people are just like you just said, just slamming around to a drum beat. Basically, that's about all you can really discern. It doesn't matter, know.
It's just they're just there to get their workout in.
No, I hear you for sure. So your new record Enigma is coming out in July, right? What's the date for that?
July 10th. Yes, okay. July 10th. It's pre-order now. It's on Org Music. The second single is coming out next week. So you'll get to hear another, if you've been keeping track. One single already came out. There's a second single coming out. So you get another taste. This one's a little darker. So you get to have another taste. Since you're familiar with the record, it's You Will Feel My Pain.
Okay, I was going to ask you. Yeah. Okay. Is there going to be a video?
So there is going to be a video of sorts for Enigma, the third single, which comes out when the record comes out.
Okay. Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah. So just Org Music, I don't know, do you know the website or anything like that where people
I don't, but if you Google Kira, Org Music, Enigma, I'm sure you can find it.
That's cool.
And it's on Spotify, and all Org Music is pretty good about getting their shit out there. So check it out. They're also doing great stuff. They're getting reissues of Descendants stuff out there. They've been doing some great stuff.
Yeah.
So check out their website anyway. They're putting out all sorts of stuff.
I think they put out some Cramp stuff recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe some Bad Brains. Yeah. I think Bad Brains.
Yeah.
So check it out. Org Music is doing all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's a good label, and the sound is really good, and they do a great job for sure.
Yep.
That's awesome. All right. Well, hey, I really appreciate you talking to me, spending some time with me.
Of
It was
course.
great talking to you again.
It was good talking to you, Anthony.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to let you go, and this should be up in a couple weeks. I'll hit your inbox with a link when it's happening. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anthony.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. Take care.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.